Hello and Assalamualaikum. So today I and my other members will discuss and present our group project, which is as a team of special financial assistance of Caledonia product. So before I start the presentation, let me introduce myself first. My name is Siti Ayunur Kasrina and my other team's member is Kairin Nazmi, Muhammad Aidil, Sean Adif and also Norazlina. Next, there are two types of analysis I want to highlight here. First is sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis is a variant of scenario analysis that can be used to identify places where forecasting risk is extremely serious. Simply said, sensitivity analysis is the research of what happens to NPV when a single variable is changed. If our NPV estimate is highly sensitive to tiny changes in the expected value of a project cash flow component, then the forecasting risk associated with that variable is considerable. Second, the most fundamental form of what-if analysis is known as scenario analysis. It pertains to determining what happens to the NPV estimation when what-if questions are asked. What we do is explore the variation in our NPV estimation that occur from asking questions. After that, sensitivity and scenario analysis is a useful tool to evaluating project risk. First is future planning. Planning for the future gives investors a look at the expected return and risk of their future investment. The goal of any business is to make more money over time, and the best way to decide whether or not to include an investment in a portfolio is to use predictive analysis. Second is proactive. Companies can avoid or reduce potential losses caused by things they can control by being aggressively preventive during worst-case scenarios and analyzing events and situations that could lead to bad results. Third is avoiding risk and failure. Businesses or independent investors can use scenario analysis to look at investment prospects and avoid making bad decisions. Scenario analysis look at both the best and the worst possible outcome so that investors can make a smart choice. Next is projecting investment returns or losses. The analysis uses tools to figure out the possible values or number of an investment gains or losses. This gives investors real, measurable data that they can use to make decisions that will hopefully lead to better results. After that, sensitivity analysis gives any type of financial model more credibility by putting it to the test in a wide range of situations. With financial sensitivity analysis, the analyst can test how sensitive the dependent variables are to the independent variables within a range that is up to him or her. As for example, the model used to study the effect of a 5-point change in interest rate on bond prices will be different from the model used to study the effect of a 20-point change in interest rate on bond prices. Using a sensitivity analysis, it can help you make a better decision. The model is used by people making decisions to figure out how sensitive the output is to changes in certain variables. So, the analyst can help people come to real conclusion and help them make the best decision.
So now I will continue our team presentation with question 2. So for question 2, I'll be explaining of what is real option and how does the presence of optionality which cover best case, worst case and base case scenario in the investment or project that firm make cause the traditionally calculated NPV of a project to be underestimated. So first, real option is an option that can be chosen by the manager for the decision-making process for their project or investment. This includes the decision to continue or to be terminated or to be halt the project in order to prevent losses and to gain profit from their investment or project. Next is NPV. NPV is the outcome of selecting a discount rate to determine the current value for future investment. Unlike the real option, NPV is more focused on immediate decision and must be initiated as soon as the results are available. So now, let's talk about how the real option caused the traditionally calculated NPV of a project to be underestimated. Real option is flexible since it has option for the manager to choose for, while on the other hand, NPV is not flexible. As a result, when there is flexibility in a decision-making option, the real option is used rather than the NPV. So now, if we take a look from this slide, there are three different scenarios. We can take an example how the real option is used rather than the NPV. So first we have when the manager decision is not in rush. This means that decision is not required to be come up immediately and the manager could take his time to make their decision for the company. So next, when the decision can be changed after it has been made. That is mean the decision is flexible since the decision is not fully concluded and can be changed whenever they want. And the last one is when there are opportunities that the company can capitalize on based on the project that they are currently working on. It means that the decision could be changed based on what option and opportunity that they are available for them to gain. So from these three different scenarios, we can see that these three different scenarios have flexibility in them.
Alright, now let's talk about simulation. What is simulation? Simulation is an essential model that tries to simulate a real-life scenario. In finance, simulation is a technique for developing a creative financial model that is made up of a number numerical formula and relationships that measure their action. There are few types of simulation. The first one is MAA model. MAA model or the merger and acquisition model show the potential earning per share to be gained by combining two companies. The second one is straight line model, which is a simple forecasting model that uses prior data to predict future growth. The third one is linear regression model. A linear regression is a more generic financial model that can be used to compare two variables. The fourth one is capital budgeting model. Capital budgeting model is the process of a business undertake to evaluate potential major project or investment, construction or a new plan or a big investment in an outside venture are example of projects that will require a capital budgeting before they are approved or rejected. Now, let's talk about the four stages of capital budgeting model. The first one is identifying the variable. The variable that influence cash inflow and outflow must be identified first. For example, suppose a company launch a new product in the market. In such case, the variable that must be considered include investment, market size, market growth, market share, fixed cost, and variable cost. The second stage is creating formula. The second step involves the specification of formula. For example, the volume of sale is depending upon the market size and the market share. The third stage is indicating the probability distribution. The third step is to indicate the probability distribution for each selected variable. Some variables will have more probability distribution than others. The fourth stage is developing computer program. Finally, a computer program should be built to show out the probability distribution for each variable. The value should also calculate the project net present value or NPV. Next, let's talk about the value of simulation. Simulation can aid in the making of investment decision, the pricing of security, and the planning of corporate transaction. Simulation also can help plan better by anticipating possible outcome. They can predict issues before they arise and mitigate the problem. For example, in finance department, run a linear regression and uncover that a new product is losing money. The product team can adjust accordingly before significant loss happen. Simulation model can be used to pursue growth opportunity. Whether a company is seeking funding, looking to invest more capital with a loan, or pursuing a partnership, using a financial simulation model to show growth potential can be a great advantage for the company. That's all from me, and thank you.
Hi, my name is Norazina and I will talk about how can break-even analysis helpful in evaluating project risk. As we know, there are many reasons why conducting a break-even analysis for your company might be a smart idea and helpful in evaluating project risk. It is because break-even analysis provide you with a much more reliable foundation on which to price your products. Determine how patient you can afford to be by taking a look at your current financial condition and estimating the time it will take you to reach your break-even point. Next, you can also setting the revenue goals. It is because conducting a break-even analysis can also be a wonderful tool for helping your team create specific sales goals. Making decisions about revenue targets is always going to be simpler if you have a specific amount and a time frame in mind. Other than that, reduced risk also the reason why conducting a break-even analysis for your company might be a smart idea and helpful in evaluating project risk. There are times when company ideas are simply not meant to be followed. You can reduce risk by eliminating investments or product lines that aren't likely to be lucrative with the aid of break-even analysis. Last but not least, obtaining funding. It's important to note that break-even analysis is frequently an important part of business strategies. A break-even analysis will likely be required if you wish to secure investment for your startup or company. Additionally, you'll be more relaxed with the idea of taking on additional debt or financing if you have the modest break-even point.
A very good morning to Madam Nina Lin. My name is Shonada FIN544 and today I will continue the presentation with question number 5, which is the purpose of sensitivity analysis. So sensitivity analysis is a financial model that determines how target variables are affected based on changes in other variables known as input variables. It is a way to predict the outcome of a decision given a certain range of variables. By creating a given set of variables, an analyst can determine how changes in one variable affect the outcome. Both the target and input or independent and dependent variable are fully analyzed when sensitivity analysis is conducted. The person doing the analysis looks at how the variables move as well as how the target is affected by the variable. Financial model that incorporate sensitivity analysis can provide management a range of feedback that is useful in many different scenarios. The purpose of sensitivity analysis includes understanding influencing factors. This includes what and how different external factors interact with a specific project or undertaking. This allows management to better understand what input variable may impact output variables. Next, sensitivity analysis reduces the uncertainty. Complex sensitivity analysis models educate users on different elements impacting a project. This in turn informs members on the project what to be alert for or what to plan for. Other than that, sensitivity analysis also catching errors. The original assumptions for the baseline analysis may have had some uncut error. By performing different analysis iterations, management may catch mistakes in the original analysis. Lastly is achieving goals. Management may long-term strategic plans must meet specific benchmarks. By performing sensitivity analysis, a company can better understand how a project may change and what conditions must be present for the team to meet its metric target. Alright, so let's continue with the question number 6a, which is evaluate the NPV of the investment under the best case assumptions. So the first step is we must find the depreciation tax shields. So we can find the depreciation tax shields by performing the calculation method, which is 2 million minus 200,000 divided by 5 and times 0.3. So we will get 108,000. The second step is the OCF base. So the formula for OCF base is P minus V, Q minus FC, 1 minus T plus depreciation tax shield. So after calculating that, we will get 6,758,000. And the last step is calculate the NPV. So in order to get the NPV, we must use the financial calculator with 12% interest. So after calculating that, we'll get 22,361,077.58.
Next is best case assumption. First, we have to find out the depreciation tax shield and go to the next step. Under best case, we must choose higher price per unit and quantity, but lower variable cost per unit. So let's have a look at the answer. As shown at the slide, this is the way how to calculate the NPV.
Next is worst case assumptions. First, we need to find out how much the depreciation tax shield, which is shown in the slide. After that, in worst case, we should choose lower price per unit and quantity, but need to choose higher variable cost per unit. We can look at the slide. This is the way how to calculate the worst case, and the answer for the worst case and NPV shows in the slide. That's all from me. I will pass the presentation to the next presenter, which will present about the best case.
That's all from our team. We really hope that our presentation is a clear explanation. Thank you for listening to our finding.